Hi everyone, and welcome to my first podcast. I just thought it would be a good start to maybe just have a chat about all my crochet projects and things like that, because I watch a lot of crochet podcasts and I thought it'd be fun to have a go on my own. Obviously being the first podcast, it's probably not going to be that long because I don't have a huge amount of projects on at the moment, but I just came back from taking my lovely dog Callie for a walk, and I just thought, yeah, let's just give it a go. So I was thinking a little bit for the format of the podcast. I could go through anything that I've finished, what I'm currently working on, and if I have anything in the future that I want to work on. Obviously, this being the first one, I will skip past finished objects because I haven't talked about anything yet. So I'll just go straight to what I'm currently working on at the moment. So I have 4 projects on the go. I normally try and keep it to about 3 or 4 projects, just because if I have too many projects on the go, I start feeling a little bit overwhelmed and then not want to work on anything. So I have these 4 projects that I just rotate every evening that I work on them, and it makes them all still interesting to go back to, but then it also gives my hands and my wrists a break from doing similar stitches over and over again, obviously depending on the project. A little bit about me. I've made mainly blankets with my sort of crochet history. I did recently try to make a jumper, and it didn't go very well, so I think I would like to have another go at making more garments, but I feel like I just need to get through some of these projects that I've got hanging around at the moment first, and then I think I might have another go at making a jumper or a cardigan, that kind of thing. In terms of projects that I'm currently working on at the moment, I've got the Day Tripper cowl, which is this amazing project that was inspired by the Beatles. So it's really, really colourful, not something that I would normally go to, the colours that are in there. It's very, very bright. I normally like the sort of earth-toned colours, but I'm also a big fan of the Beatles, so I thought, why not give it a go? The blanket is by Katie Jones, and it's the Day Tripper picnic blanket, and it's sort of a crochet along with Sirdar, I think that's how you pronounce it, Sirdar. And they're still selling the packs and like the kits that you can to make it, and it obviously comes with the pattern and all the yarn that you need, and it's such a interesting project. There's lots of not stitches that I haven't done, but like the way it's been put together I've not done before. So there's lots of like half triangles that you crocheted at the same time. There's these big squares and then attaching it all, and at the moment all I need to do is the border, which is actually taking quite a while because it's just trebles around the side, so I'm hoping to have that finished relatively soon, and I just obviously need to sew in all the ends at the back. Oh god. I am one of those people that normally crochet over my ends because I'm a bit lazy, but with some things, like for this one for example, that wasn't possible, so there's a lot of weaving in ends for this project. So yeah, that one should be finished fairly soon. The next project that I'm working on is called Cat's Afghan. You may have seen it going around TikTok and Instagram. That's how I saw it, and I was like, I need to make that because I have somebody in my life that I know will absolutely love this as a Christmas present. It's a pattern that was created, I think, in like late 90s, and it was a little bit hard to try and get hold of the actual pattern for it. But someone has linked it on Pinterest. That's how I found it. So I'll put the link if you're interested in the pattern in the description, because it's a really, really fun project. The only thing is that it's something that I have never attempted to do before. There's lots of colour changes, and it's going to be quite a big one because I decided to go for a 5mm hook instead of what it recommended, which was a 4, just because I've been using a 4 for ages and ages, and I just fancied making something really flowy and a bit bigger and something that will work up hopefully fairly quick considering all the colour changes. I'm very, very only just started this. I think I started last week, so I don't know how long it's going to take me to make it, but hopefully we're in August, so I'm hoping it will be done before Christmas. So I've not really worked out the best way of changing colours all the time. It does say in the pattern not to carry the yarn through, like not to crochet over it. You cut it and fasten off each time, attach the new colour, fasten off, which makes sense because I did try the crochet over the ends method first of all, and it just looked awful. I was ending up having like 4 strands that I was trying to crochet over. You could see it all through it, and because the shapes are very distinct, you can tell that there's crochet bits in there. So at the moment I'm probably like on the 6th row, and there's already millions of ends to contend with. So I had a look on YouTube to see if anybody had made like them making it or anything like that, and I couldn't find anything, which I was really surprised about, but seeing as it's making the rounds on TikTok and Instagram. And I'm not quite sure entirely what the method is. I don't know if this is technically mosaic crochet or it might be something else. I don't know. I have to say I'm quite vanilla. Like, I've been doing crochet for years, probably actually even a decade now, but I've never really started to branch out into different techniques and things like that. So this is all new to me. I just used to stick to making like granny square blankets and things like that. So if anybody has any advice of what to do with all these ends, or if I'm doing the right thing and I just have to stick with it and just sew them all up, maybe as I go or at the end. I can't imagine leaving it to the end, actually. That would just kill me, I think. There's so many ends. But yeah, if anybody's like made something similar to this and would like to give me any advice, please do, because yeah, like I said, never done anything like this before. It's really interesting and really fun, and I'm loving it, and it's really cute to see all the sort of cat shapes starting to grow as I go along. But yeah, I'll keep you updated about that one. The next project that I am working on is Christmas Eve Wishes Cow made by Anita. That's our Instagram handle. Her name is Anita Gibney. I'm not really a Christmas person. I don't really decorate for Christmas and things like that. But when I was buying the day tripper kit, the shop I was buying it from also had the Christmas Wishes, Christmas Eve Wishes, kit as well. And I was just like, well, let's just give it a go, because again, I'm trying to expand and learn more with crochet and be able to be confident to do other things. And there were bits and pieces in this blanket that I was looking at going, I actually don't know how to do that, and that would be really fun to learn and to know what to do. So I think it's been fairly straightforward so far. I've only really got up to the candy stripe part of the blanket, and I've already made a mistake with that, so I'm going to have to frog a bit of that back, but it's not going to be a lot to frog back, thankfully. And yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to actually starting on like the little gingerbread men on that blanket. But yeah, I mean, the instructions are really well written. Like I did made by Anita's Coronation Cow, and I really, really enjoyed that blanket, making that one. Again, learned lots of new things with coming with that blanket. Like now my favourite technique on how to join granny squares I got from that blanket. So I'd really recommend her patterns, and she's done, you know, quite a few like kits, and like, you know, where you get all the yarn and pattern and stuff, and then all the sometimes she makes videos to go with it to explain certain stitches and things like that. So yeah, even though I'm not a Christmas person, I thought I'd give it a go. And thankfully I have pre-ordered my yarn for her Halloween version of this, which is way more up my street. I absolutely love Halloween. I just like the aesthetic of Halloween, I should probably clarify. I don't really like horror movies, but I just love the aesthetic of Halloween. And yeah, this Halloween blanket is pretty much the same as the Christmas Eve Wishes blanket, but it's Halloween. So I bought my kit from Snuffle Bean Yarns. She was doing a pre-order for them, might still be up, hopefully. But yeah, I have checked. If you like Halloween as well, give that a look and see if that'd be something you're interested in. I'm really excited to start on that when I think they're going to start shipping in September. So I can't wait to get my kit for that one. And the last project I'm going to talk about is my temperature blanket. Now, if you don't know what a temperature blanket is, I'll try and explain it really, really quickly. But if it sounds like something really interesting to you, there is so many videos on YouTube of suggestions on how to do it, and you know, how to modify it, etc., etc. So it's a really fun project, but it is a year-long project, and not everybody has the stamina or the commitment or interest, I guess, in doing stuff like that. But I absolutely love it. This is my second year now doing a temperature blanket. So basically, every day you record the temperatures of your area. People do it in different ways. I'm doing the average temperature of the day, but you can do the highest, you can do the lowest, you can do both if you want a massive blanket. But I decided to do the average temperature of the day. So once you've recorded that number, it then relates to a colour. So you have like a colour chart. So for example, if you did 0 degrees to 5 degrees and that colour was blue, and then you recorded that day that the day was 3 degrees, you would then crochet a row of blue. It's really fun. It really engages you in the weather. I have to be honest, I've never really been that interested in temperatures and things like that, but it's now really got me interested in temperatures and what's going to be happening this week. It's the kind of thing where I think a lot of people get put off because they're worried if they fall behind, they'll have so much to catch up on. And to that I say, like, there's not really a deadline for it. You know, the only deadline is your self-imposed deadline. For example, my last year's blanket, I only finished that in April this year. And that was just because I chose the wrong pattern for it, and it was taking me forever to crochet. But, you know, it was my first temperature blanket. Actually, I've got it here, I can show you. So you can see, so I did this chevron. It looks gorgeous. I love this pattern. But because it's quite a wide blanket, the rows were taking me forever, basically. So it did, you know, I did fall off and have to catch up. But, you know, I carried on recording the temperatures, so it was like whenever I'm ready to come pick this back up again, all the temperatures are there and ready, and I just carry on like it is in like a normal blanket. But you can see here, so this is where I started, this white colour. And all these sort of purpley colours were the bottom of my temperature range. And as we got into hotter weather, you can see how the temperature has increased. And we had a heat wave in the UK last summer, and here I recorded that with these red stripes. These were like when we had like 35-degree weather or whatever it was, like really unusual for the UK. So I bought a special colour for it just to say this was the heat wave that we had. And then you can see it goes back down to cooler temperatures again. So this, I don't know if you can tell, but this is a very, very long blanket. Super long, like I can't even hold it up. I'm about 5'5" and I can't hold it all the way up. The yarn I used was Starcraft bamboo and cotton, just because it looked like a thinner yarn, and I thought, well, if it's even though it says it's DK, it looked like 4-ply kind of thinness. I thought, well, that might help with the height. But what I obviously didn't think of was the chevrons was creating more and more height. So obviously I learned a lot from that blanket, and I really enjoyed the experience. This time I've gone for just normal Starcraft DK acrylic yarn, and I've chosen my colour palette is based on the cottagecore aesthetic, which I love the cottagecore aesthetic. So I've got some gorgeous pinks, yellows, greens, browns. And the only thing is this year it's not been as hot as it was last year. And I've just not seen my top end temperatures at all. They've just not shown up. And we're sort of getting towards the point where I'm just wondering whether they will ever show up. So it might be that, I just have, at the moment it's just yellows, pinks and greens, no browns. So, yeah, I'm just wondering whether I'll ever get to any of those colours. But it's, that's just what happens with the temperature blanket. It just, you never know what the weather's going to do, so you kind of plan for what you can. If I was going to give any tips for temperature blankets, obviously, again, it's only my second year, but I would stick to cheaper yarn, because you're not going to know. You can have a rough idea of what kind of colours you're going to need more of, but you're not really going to know until you're in it, and it's best to stick with the slightly cheaper yarns, so you're not spending huge amounts of money on your blanket. The first blanket, all those balls of yarn were about £5 each, so it was costing me quite a lot of money to keep buying certain colours. So that's again another reason why I switched to just the normal Starcraft DK. But yeah, if you have any other questions about temperature blankets, do let me know, and I'll hopefully answer as much as I can. I'm going to be doing it again next year, I think. And just to say, obviously, it doesn't have to be temperature. I've seen people do stuff based on their mood, that they create their own gauge about their mood, and each colour responds to a specific mood for that day, so it's like a mood blanket. Other people have done it on like specific weather types. You can do like, did it rain that day? Was it really sunny? Did you get snow? Blah, blah, blah. Other people do like the temperature blanket, but then also show like when specific like occasions happen, like if they got married, there was a birthday, or something like that. I've seen people put like gold thread through it, so it's like, this is the day that this thing happened. So it's really can be really personalized, or it can be a great gift to give somebody as well, and say this is, because you can go back in like historical data and do the year of someone's birth or something. I think that'd be really cool. So there's so many possibilities with the temperature blanket, and I think it's worth having to think about it. You can even start now. I know it's August, but you can still start now. Or you can just think about it for next year. But yeah, I already know that I'm going to be trying again and doing another one for sure. So with regards to future plans and what I'm thinking that I'd like to do in the future once I've finished some of my other projects, I started a jumper, and this was actually knitting. I bought the kit from Aldi, of all places, and it's just this really simple men's collar block jumper. And I did actually knit first when I was quite young. I think I was like 10, 12 when I learned how to knit. And then my nan taught me how to knit, and then my mum taught me how to crochet, and I was like, I prefer crochet. So I just took crochet and ran with it, and not really gone back to knitting since. So when I saw this kit in Aldi, I thought, I think if you're going to have a go, this is not that much expensive. I think I should just, we could try it. And the jumper will be for my partner, my boyfriend. So I have started it. I had to reteach myself a few bits, but to be honest, it did come back to me fairly quickly. It wasn't too difficult to start go, I remember how to do this. Yeah, perfect. The only thing is why I abandoned it is because I made a mistake, and it's a very noticeable mistake. I can't remember which way I did it, but it's either I did a purl side and a knit side, or the other way around. So there's now this little ridge, very obviously where I have gone wrong. And I did look up videos on how to frog back, because obviously crochet, pull it all out, absolutely fine. With knitting, you can't really just pull it back and then put the needles back in, unless you can, and I couldn't find that video, but frogging back looked like a real pain in the bum, I'll be honest. So I was like, do you know what, I'm just gonna leave this for a little bit. And then I'll pick it back up again later. So when I finish the daily triple cow, I'm going to back up that jumper. Obviously, it's not something that my boyfriend's probably going to wear outside of the house, because the size is going to be absolutely massive on him. There was only one a medium or a large, and he's a small. So it's going to be too big for him, but for me, it's a learning experience for me. So that's why it's kind of like I'm not too fussed if there are lots of mistakes, but that ridge really bothers me. So when I pick it back up again, I'll show you the ridge and I'll go through how I corrected it, and then hopefully I can carry on. What I don't want to do, which is I'm worried I'm going to do, is just pull it all the way back out and go, let's just start again. I do that a lot. I'm just like, there's a mistake, just start again, and we'll go from there. But I don't really want to do that, because obviously it was quite a lot of work to get up to that point. Because knitting, I always forget, knitting is so much slower than crochet. So I don't want to pull back all that progress, but I might be tempted to. And the other project that I will be doing as well, when I have one of the other projects finished, there is another Made by Anita project, she's called her Scandi Flowers blanket. So that one is not a kit, it is just a pattern release, and then suggested yarn to go with it. So you don't necessarily have to buy the yarn that she's used. It's just, there's the pattern and here's the suggested yarn. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous blanket, obviously inspired by a Scandinavian design and some flowers. I'm really looking forward to starting that. I did purchase the yarn that she recommended, and I have it. I haven't purchased the pattern yet, because I thought, I've still got all these other projects to do. Let's not buy the pattern just yet. And when I'm ready, I will purchase the pattern. to be honest with you, I'm not quite sure when I'll be able to get started on that one, and that might change. I might decide to do something else. I might, if the Halloween blanket turns up by the time I have a free space of projects I'm working on, I might just go straight to the Halloween blanket, because I really want to have a start on that and have that ready by October. I'm hoping I can get it done by October. So yeah, those are my future plans. So yeah, I hope this was interesting. I mean, obviously this is my first one, so I don't know if this all made sense. Or yeah, it wasn't interesting or anything like that. But, you know, I'm interested in hearing from you. What have you got working on at the moment? Are any of the things that I'm working on the same as you? Or, you know, have I tempted you to have a look at any of these projects? Because a lot of these are, I think, are really interesting, and they're all different as well. Yeah, I'm not quite sure when to make the next one, because I feel like a week's not enough time for me to finish anything. I can only crochet in the evenings, because I do work full time. Obviously at the weekends I have a little bit more time, but not always. So I guess I'm fairly slow crocheter. I also have problems with my wrists, where I do get quite achy and stiff. So sometimes I have to take breaks. Like you know, I don't crochet for an evening and then try and pick it up the next day and see how I do. So I am fairly slow. But you know, it's a habit. It's a project that I love. I love doing crochet, and I can say knitting as well now, because of tiny little bit of knitting. Yeah. So yeah, that's my podcast. I'm going to leave you with some nice nature shots of me taking my lovely dog for a walk, and I will see you all next time. Bye.